There's a moment in a relationship that looks small from the outside but feels huge on the inside. You're in the kitchen or in the car or lying in bed next to someone you care about. They say something simple like, "I'm going out with friends on Saturday," or they put their phone down a little too slowly, or they forget to text you back for a few hours. Your body reacts before your mind does. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops. A thought appears, sharp and certain. "They don't care about me," or "I can't trust them," or "Here we go again, I'm not important." You hear your own voice get colder or louder. You notice yourself pulling away or pushing too hard. A part of you knows the reaction is bigger than the situation, but it feels so real, so familiar, that you can't just turn it off. It's like an old script has started playing, and now you're inside it. That moment doesn't only happen in romantic relationships. It shows up with friends, coworkers, family. Your manager gives you neutral feedback, and you hear, "You're failing." Your friend cancels plans because they're tired, and you hear, "You're not a priority." Your parent says, "You've been distant," and you hear, "You're a disappointment." On the outside, you might look composed, explaining, defending, shutting down, or over-explaining. On the inside, it's chaos. A wave of shame, anger, or panic surges through your body. You feel like a younger version of yourself has taken over, desperate to protect you. Later, alone, you replay the moment and think, "Why did I react like that? They weren't even attacking me." But by then, the damage might already feel done. For a lot of people between 25 and 45, this is the quiet, repeating pain in relationships. On paper, things look fine. Two adults with jobs, routines, responsibilities. But under the surface, there's a mismatch. One person feels like they're giving a lot and getting little back. Another feels like nothing they do is enough. Someone is always initiating, while the other feels smothered. One person keeps saying, "You never show me you love me," while the other thinks, "What do you mean? I'm doing everything I can." The words "I love you" are there. The effort is there, and yet both people feel strangely unseen. That pattern doesn't start in adulthood. It begins early, long before we know words like attachment or communication. A little kid doesn't think in theories. They learn through experience. When you reached out as a child, crying, asking questions, wanting to play, someone responded in a certain way. Maybe you had a parent who hugged you and listened when you were upset. Or maybe you had one who said, "Stop overreacting," or "We don't talk about that," or "I'm too busy right now." Maybe love showed up as words but not actions, or as actions but never words, or as gifts but no touch, or as problem-solving but no listening. A girl might grow up in a family where love is shown through doing things. Cooking, cleaning, fixing, providing, but no one says, "I love you" out loud. She learns that love looks like service, not tenderness or language. As an adult, when her partner doesn't help around the house but writes long, sweet messages, part of her feels confused and resentful. "If you loved me, you'd see what I need help with." A boy might grow up with a parent who buys him everything he needs, pays for sports, gives him opportunities, but never really sits with him, never asks how he feels, never says they're proud of him. He learns that love equals providing, not emotional presence. As an adult, he works, pays bills, solves problems, and honestly doesn't understand why his partner says, "I don't feel close to you." Over time, these early lessons solidify into what feels like common sense. If you loved me, you would do this. If you cared, you'd say that. We rarely stop to ask, where did I learn that? Who taught me that this is what love looks like? Other people, of course, are learning something slightly different in their own homes. The result? Two adults, each speaking what feels to them like the language of love, often missing each other completely. In popular culture, a simple framework for this emerged with the idea of love languages. The basic idea is that people tend to give and receive love in a few main ways: words, time, gifts, actions, and touch. Some people feel loved when they hear phrases like, "I appreciate you," and "I'm proud of you." Others feel it most in unhurried time together. Some feel it through thoughtful gifts. Others through practical help, dishes washed, tasks handled. For some, physical closeness, like hugs or holding hands, carries the deepest meaning. Underneath this, psychology points to something clear. We are wired to seek signs of safety, care, and belonging. Our nervous system scans for cues. Am I valued here? Am I safe? Am I seen? Those cues often arrive in the form of these languages shaped by our past. In daily life, this plays out in countless quiet ways. Imagine Emma and Mark. Emma grew up in a family where everyone talked. They shared stories at dinner, checked in emotionally, gave lots of verbal praise. For her, "I love you" is something you say often. Mark grew up in a family where no one said that out loud. His parents showed love by working hard and fixing things. When something was broken, his dad repaired it. When he needed something, his mom made sure it was there. As adults, Emma tries to connect by talking about feelings and saying kind words. Mark tries to connect by doing chores, taking the car for service, paying the bills on time. On a Tuesday night, Emma sits on the couch and says, "We never talk anymore. I don't feel like you care." Mark, who has just spent 2 hours fixing the broken sink, feels punched in the gut. "What do you mean? I do everything for this house." Both are right. Both feel unseen. Both are speaking love in a way that makes sense to them. Or take Sarah and David. Sarah's parents were busy and stressed. They rarely had time to sit with her, but every birthday they gave her carefully chosen gifts. As a child, she learned to equate gifts with being noticed. David, on the other hand, grew up in a house where money was tight. Gifts were rare. What he remembers most is his father taking him for long walks and his mother listening to him before bed. As an adult, Sarah finds deep meaning in small physical things: a handwritten note, a flower, a surprise coffee. If weeks go by without any of these, she feels quietly unimportant. David, who spends hours each week talking with her, sharing time, and listening, doesn't realize she experiences his presence as normal and his lack of gifts as a lack of intention. When she says, "You never do anything special for me," he feels confused and defensive. "What do you mean? I'm here with you all the time." None of this means that the love language idea is a perfect or scientific model. It's a simplification. Real people are more complex. Many have more than one way they feel loved, and those needs can change over time. But as a starting point, it's useful because it makes something invisible visible. It gives you words for something you felt your whole life, that some gestures land deeply and others feel strangely empty, even if they look good from the outside. It also explains why giving what you would want to receive doesn't always work. You might write long texts because words matter to you, while your partner would trade all those messages for one day where you're fully present without your phone. You might buy gifts because they move you, while your friend would rather get an hour of your undivided time. So how does this show up now in your daily life? You might notice that you feel strangely hurt when people don't respond in the way you secretly expect. You plan a thoughtful surprise for your partner. They appreciate it, but don't get as excited as you imagined. The next day, they've organized your closet, fixed the shelf, or handled a task you've been avoiding. You think, "Okay, but I wanted something more emotional." They think, "I showed love by making your life easier." Or maybe you keep saying, "I'm proud of you" to your child or sibling, but what they really crave is that you show up at their events and put your phone away. To you, your words are huge. To them, your absence is louder. You may feel ongoing resentment without fully understanding why. Little things build up: unreturned touches, canceled plans, jokes about being dramatic when you ask for more connection, gifts that feel generic, texts that feel rushed. It doesn't always explode in a big fight. Sometimes it turns into distance. You stop asking. You lower your expectations. You decide, quietly, that this is just how it is. Inside, your body keeps score. A tightness in the chest when your partner pulls away from a hug too fast. A heaviness when your efforts aren't mirrored. An invisible wince when someone says, "You know I love you," but rarely shows it in a way that lands for you. Over time, this can feel like being in a relationship where you're theoretically loved, but emotionally underfed. The temptation is to think something is wrong with me for needing this, or something is wrong with them for not giving it. But there's another possibility. The channel is off. The signal is there, but it's not tuned to your frequency. And your own signal might not be tuned to theirs. The dark side here, the frustration, the jealousy of other couples, the anger you feel when your love goes unnoticed, isn't proof that you're broken. It's information. Jealousy, when you see your friend's partner plan something thoughtful, might be pointing to a need you've told yourself is too much. Anger, when your efforts aren't recognized, might be pointing to a pattern where you overgive in ways that no one asked for, hoping to finally feel secure. Fatigue, when you're always the one initiating affection, could be pointing to the reality that you're carrying all the emotional labor. Instead of treating these feelings as problems to get rid of, you can treat them as messengers. They're showing you where your love language and someone else's are clashing. They're showing you where your childhood lessons about love are still running in the background. They're showing you where you might be projecting past experiences onto present people, expecting them to abandon, ignore, or disappoint you in the exact way someone once did. So, what can you actually do to work with this in a grounded way? First practice. Notice your emotional triggers around love and care. When a strong feeling flares up, hurt, anger, shame, disappointment, pause long enough to name it. Not, "They don't care about me," but "I feel abandoned right now," or "I feel invisible," or "I feel unwanted." Then ask yourself, what did I hope would happen instead in this moment? Maybe you hoped for a hug. Maybe you hoped they'd text first. Maybe you hoped they'd say, "I'm proud of you," without being prompted. Writing this out in a journal helps because it moves you from vague pain to specific needs. Over time, patterns emerge. You might realize, "I react the strongest when I feel ignored," or "My biggest trigger is when plans change without warning." That gives you something concrete to work with. Second practice. Start an inner dialogue about where your template for love came from. Ask yourself small, gentle questions. Growing up, how did I know I was loved? What did people do or say that made me feel safe? What was missing that I still long for? You can even write a conversation between your present self and your younger self. Let the younger one answer honestly. Maybe they say, "I just wanted someone to listen without fixing me," or "I wanted someone to be proud of me out loud." Hearing that, you can see how your current love language formed. It's not random, it's an echo of the past. This doesn't mean you're stuck with it forever, but understanding it lets you own it instead of unconsciously repeating it. Third practice. Set small boundaries around how you give love so you don't burn out. Many people overgive in their own love language, hoping to pull someone closer. You might constantly do favors, say yes to every request, or always be the first to text, and then feel crushed when the same energy isn't returned. Try an experiment. Pick one area where you tend to overextend, gifts, acts, messages, touch, availability, and pull back just a little. Not in a punishing way, but in a way that respects your own energy. For example, if you're always the one planning dates, decide that this month you'll ask directly, "Can you plan something for us Saturday?" and then give your partner the space to do it. Setting limits might feel scary at first, as if love will disappear if you're not constantly fueling it. But it also makes room to see what the other person chooses when they're not being carried. Fourth practice. Build small, honest moments with others about what actually lands for you. Instead of hinting, complaining, or testing, try clear, neutral sentences like, "When you hug me when I come home, I feel really loved." Or, "When you say out loud that you appreciate what I did, it means a lot to me." Or, "Quality time without phones is the main way I feel close." The goal isn't to demand or control, it's to share your map so they're not guessing in the dark. You can also ask them what makes you feel most cared for. You might be surprised by the answers. This kind of conversation can feel awkward, especially if no one modeled it for you growing up. But it's often the missing bridge between two people who are both trying and still missing each other. Fifth practice. Try a weekly no in the area of love to protect your self-respect. That might sound strange, but many people stay in patterns where they accept crumbs because they're afraid of losing even that. Once a week, notice a moment where you're tempted to accept something that really doesn't work for you. Last-minute plans that always ignore your schedule. Touch that only happens when the other person wants something. Emotional conversations that only happen when you initiate. In one of those moments, say a small no. That time doesn't work for me. I'd like to talk when we both have energy. I'm not comfortable with that. It's not about punishing the other person. It's about showing your own nervous system that you are willing to protect your needs, not abandon them for the hope of being loved. Sixth practice. Use imagination to talk to the part of you that feels unlovable when your love language isn't met. Close your eyes and picture a younger version of you sitting somewhere, on the edge of a bed, at a school desk, on a playground bench. They've just experienced a moment where they reached out and didn't get what they needed. Maybe someone forgot to show up. Maybe they did something they were proud of and no one noticed. Sit beside that younger you in your mind and say, I see that you didn't get what you needed. That wasn't your fault. Ask them, what kind of love are you still waiting for? Let the answer come in images, words, or feelings. Then imagine giving them some of that yourself, through words, gestures, or simply your presence. This doesn't replace the importance of real relationships. But it does mean you're not leaving all the healing to external people. You become part of the team that cares for you. Seventh practice. Pay attention to how your body responds when love does land. Sometimes we're so used to scanning for what's missing that we barely register when something actually feels good. When someone does speak your language, texts you first, offers help without being asked, gives thoughtful touch, brings you something small, spends uninterrupted time with you, pause for a second. Notice how your chest feels. Notice your shoulders. Notice your breath. Let yourself say internally, this is what it feels like to be cared for. The more your nervous system can register and trust these moments, the less desperate and starved it feels. You begin moving from survival mode in relationships, chasing, testing, proving, to a more grounded place where love can be received, not just hunted for. Over time, if you practice even a few of these, something subtle starts to shift. You stop assuming that if someone doesn't love you in your exact language, they don't love you at all. You also stop ignoring the reality of your needs. You become more fluent in translating. When they do this, that's their way of caring, even if it's not my primary way. And when I ask for this, I'm not being needy. I'm being clear. Some relationships will adjust. When both people are willing to learn each other's language, the connection often deepens. A partner might start offering more words if that's important to you, and you might start recognizing their practical help as love instead of taking it for granted. Other relationships may change in a different way. When you get clearer on your needs and more honest about where your hunger comes from, you might realize that some setups simply don't work for you. Not because you're too sensitive or they're too cold, but because your values and capacities are too different. That's painful, but it's also freeing. You're no longer stuck in a loop of trying to squeeze water from a stone. You can grieve what isn't there and make space for connections that are more aligned. Inside, you'll likely notice less panic about being found out as too much or not enough. When you understand your love language as a logical result of your history, you don't have to apologize for it. You can hold it more lightly. This is what tends to make me feel loved. It's not the only way, but it matters. That kind of self-acceptance makes it easier to talk about, experiment with, and even laugh about sometimes. It turns your love language from a rigid demand into a living conversation. The struggle with love languages, feeling unseen, mismatched, starved, is not a sign that you're broken. It's part of being human. Everyone, on some level, is trying to answer the same questions. Am I loved? Am I chosen? Do I matter? The way those questions show up in your life, the things that hurt you most, the gestures that feed you most, is your particular pattern. It doesn't need to be erased. It needs to be understood and included. When you think back to those small moments, the sting when someone pulls their hand away, the ache when no one notices what you did, the frustration when your way of loving goes unrecognized, try treating them as messages instead of verdicts. Instead of, "I'm too needy" or "they're hopeless," try, "This is showing me something about what love looks like to me and to them." From that place, you can choose to speak up, to listen differently, to adjust, to set limits, to reach inwards as well as outwards. If this resonated with you and you want more videos on psychology, relationships, and the inner work of learning how you give and receive love, you can subscribe for more. And if you feel like sharing, let me know in the comments. What kind of gesture makes you feel most loved? Words, time, gifts, help, or touch?